Time for a bonus 9th Day of Genius in MSNBC's 7 Days of Genius project. And it's the genius of founding father Alexander Hamilton, the subject of an amazing new production here in New York City called Hamilton. It is the single hottest ticket anywhere off or on Broadway, winning rave reviews from everyone from Andrew Lloyd Webber to Rupert Murdoch. Recently, I had the opportunity to talk with the genius behind Hamilton, Tony Award-winning composer and my good friend, Lin-Manuel Miranda, who has been working on this project for years.
I'm thrilled the White House called me tonight because I'm actually working on a hip-hop album. It's a concept album about the life of someone I think embodies hip-hop, Treasury Secretary Alexander Hamilton. How does a bastard orphan son of a whore and a Scotsman dropped in the middle of a forgotten spot in the Caribbean by providence, impoverished and squalor, grow up to be a hero and a scholar?
Guests at the White House gathered that night probably weren't expecting a hip-hop performance based on the life of Alexander Hamilton as told by his nemesis, Aaron Burr. But that's exactly what they got from actor and composer Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Inside he was longing for something to be a part of. The brother was ready to beg, steal, borrow, or barter.
What they also got was a very early sneak preview of the biggest, hottest ticket currently off Broadway.
So I started writing in 2008. I wrote that song I performed at the White House in 2009. That was the only thing I'd written at that point.
Which is now the show's opening number.
Yeah.
That show is called Hamilton. I was lucky enough to catch it in previews. After all, Lin-Manuel Miranda and I go way back to our days at Hunter College High School. And over the last few weeks, a parade of bold-faced names have made the pilgrimage to New York's Public Theater to see it. Everyone from Bill Clinton to Paul McCartney. As Hamilton's lyrics will tell you, it's the story of the $10 founding father without a father, as chronicled through hip-hop anthems and R&B ballads. And it's been years in the making. Fresh off his debut musical In the Heights, for which he won a Tony Award for Best Original Score, Miranda got his inspiration for Hamilton from an 800-plus page book.
I was still in the Heights when I picked up Ron Chernow's biography. At the end of the second chapter was like, oh, this is a hip-hop story. You know, Ron really captures the relentlessness of Hamilton, and that's what I sort of hooked into too. This is an immigrant who wrote his way to the top of American society, helped create the country, and then wrote himself out of it.
Miranda has spent the past 7 years working on his latest creation.
And I spent 2009 writing My Shot, and then in 2010...
You spent a year writing that song.
I spent a year writing that song.
Okay, what is that? This is what's fascinating to me. Like, what does it mean spending a year writing a song?
It means Hamilton's so much smarter than me that I need to... This is the song where Hamilton comes into the room and blows everyone away with the strength of his oratory. And so every couplet has to be, you know, amazing.
Hamilton, which is headed to Broadway this summer, not only reinvents the musical genre, but remakes our view of the Founding Fathers, portraying America's first Treasury Secretary as reeking of new money. Hamilton and his contemporaries are depicted as over-the-top braggarts full of swagger and wit.
It's that new money.
It's new money, yes.
Yeah.
And in fact, Jefferson says smelling like new money in the second act.
Yeah. Yeah, and people made fun of him because he also overdressed like crazy. He designed his own uniforms for his own group of soldiers. He was like, well, my soldiers are wearing this.
Really?
Yeah, it's very Kanye. It's very no, my guys have got to be dressed tight. It's really quite mad.
The story of Alexander Hamilton is a story of an ambitious 18th century immigrant from the Caribbean, a man who by sheer force of will helped lay down the foundation for a country, unique and quintessentially American.
Hamilton was a genius.
Hamilton was a for real genius, surrounded by geniuses.
But he was more, watching your show made me realize how much of a genius he was.
Yeah, because he was largely self-taught. He really wrote his way out of his circumstances and sort of played catch-up. He was reading about monetary policy during the Revolutionary War in the event that he'd be called to service treasury. Like, he was thinking 10 steps ahead. I mean, I think if that's the essence of genius, if it's, okay, we have to win this war, but we also have to, like, figure out how to not be in perpetual revolution, which is what we see all over the world today, which is what we see time and time again throughout history. You know, you see America stick the landing, and then you see the French Revolution, which cycles from chaos to dictator Robespierre to another genius, Napoleon, who grabs everyone and says, we're going this way. America really stuck the landing, and it's a credit to, one, you know, the virtue of coming up in the Age of Enlightenment, and two, these men who thought, how do we, and it was a lot of trial and error. And, you know, I think one of the things that I'm proud of about the show is they come off as very human, and their fights are petty, but the stakes are a country that will last.
Right.
And so the fights between Hamilton and Jefferson are the fights you're still having on your network.
The genius of Alexander Hamilton as told through the genius of Lin-Manuel Miranda.
What would you tell like 18-year-old or 19 or 20-year-old Lin-Manuel Miranda who's like working on In the Heights, or someone else out there who's watching this who's like, I want to do this?
I would tell
What do you
them-
know now that you didn't know then?
I know now that life's not short, it's long, which is the thing that Washington keeps telling Hamilton.
That
right?
is a really
Dying
good
is
point.
easy, living is harder. To really get it right, you think, oh my gosh, look at this amazing first draft. And then you realize what 10 whacks at it can do to it. And you learn, oh, I didn't know anything. I didn't know anything. And so I would just tell him to hang on.
Yeah.
In the words of Outkast, hold on, be strong.
If you're watching that and you're a hip-hop head, a history buff, someone who loves musical theater, or just loves things that are awesome, you were thinking to yourself, wait, how can I see that? You were in luck. The run at the Public is sold out, but they just announced they're moving to Broadway this summer. Tickets are already on sale if you come through New York. All right.